Well, good morning and welcome to the HR TailorMade's live series, Conversations with Consultants. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Slater, and I am the CEO of HR TailorMade. And HR TailorMade is the HR solution for small organizations. And with these conversations, we hope to make it very clear that you don't have to wear all of the hats in your organization. There are tons of awesome experts that are available to assist you. Not only available, but they want to assist you. We want to assist you so that you can grow your business to what you want it to be. And I am super excited to introduce you all to my guest today. She is Krystal Weigl, and she is the an attorney for BiState Law. And Krystal, please fill in the gaps if there is anything else that you would like to share about yourself. But you know what? How about we start here? Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. And so, Krystal, tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Krystal Weigl. I'm an attorney at BiState Law. I mostly work with small business owners here in the Midwest. And my favorite thing is being a part of the small business owner team experience and adventure. So all here for the questions. And you're absolutely right. There's so many people that want to help people launch their dreams.
Yes. Yeah, and it's being a part of this entrepreneurial journey, even for me, has been super rewarding, which is why one of the reasons why I started conversations with consultants, because I've met so many amazing people and I've learned so many different things just by having conversations. I just thought that it'd be awesome to share my learnings with everybody else here. So, Krystal, how did you get to where you are now along your professional journey? Like, I'm sure your law path did not start with working with small businesses.
Oh gosh, no. So I've been doing this a long time. I was pretty young when I graduated law school. I went to law school up in Syracuse, New York. Very, very cold place. Awesome basketball though. I thought I wanted to work in policy for a while, so I moved to DC. I worked with the American Bar Association on the Human Rights Council. My now husband is from Chicago, so we did a stint in Chicago. Did a lot of litigating, a lot of lawsuits, a lot of time in court. And then my family's from here, so we came back here in 2016. And again, was still doing a lot of litigating and a lot of time in court. I was traveling over 200 days out of the year for a couple of years in a row. And slowly through that, started working with business owners who were friends. And they would just say, hey, could you tell me, what do I need to do here? Does this make sense? Do I need to pay for this? And as I started having those conversations, exactly like you said, I was like, this is kind of my favorite thing, because you don't know, right? You just don't know as a business owner what you should do, what you can do. You don't know how much of it is in your control.
Yeah.
And so it really was just kind of serendipitous that I started talking to people who just wanted to know, what's the path of least resistance here?
Yeah.
And once I did that, I built a practice around it, totally accidentally for a while.
Yeah. So, what is the biggest challenge that you've seen small business owners struggle with as it relates to protecting their business and their assets and themselves?
Sure. Well, first, before even legal challenges pop up, there's the challenge of, do I want to call an attorney? Do I want to spend money on this? Does this even matter? And so the biggest issue, unfortunately, is people don't ask questions because they don't know what to ask. And then they end up with a problem that they probably could have avoided. So I think that's why I get so much satisfaction out of this type of work, because I can go, okay, here's a really easy way. We're going to not get to that. So once they actually do contact an attorney, if people are proactive about it, then they don't have massive problems. They have problems that are not time sensitive. They have problems that they can handle at their own speed. But unfortunately, so much of it is after the fact, and that's when it can be a lot more complicated.
Yeah. And I of course, as an HR person, find that to be a challenge in my line of work as well. So I can certainly appreciate that. What do you say to the small business owner who is strapped for cash and they just started their business? What would you say is the logical next step for them? Like if they have, this is how much money I have right now to pay for this thing.
Mhm.
What, after they get their LLC, what is the next thing they should spend money on from a legal perspective?
Well, before you spend any money on any legal stuff, I would absolutely say you want to talk to a couple attorneys.
Mhm.
We have a lot of underrepresented communities here in St. Louis. Women business owners make up a decent portion of that somehow, even though we're like a huge percentage of,
Yes.
of business owners out there. There, there's so many systemic issues that come into this idea, which I'm sure you've experienced in your line of work as well.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that you have someone that you can chat with, who, just like a doctor, just like human resources, any other professional, you can turn to and say, okay, is this really an issue? And can you help me sort out what's important here? Because
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, you could go for years, and a lot of people do, without ever paying for another legal thing after you get that LLC.
Mhm.
The problem is, if you don't know about the legal issues that are going to pop up, then you do things that eh, can, not always, but can end up being a problem. And so if you're able to just have that like 10-minute conversation and say, hey, is this all right? One,
Mhm.
you're going to sleep a lot better.
Mhm.
And two, you get to do the work in your business that's meaningful, that called you to that business,
Right.
that you get to contribute to your community. So you're not
Right.
wondering, hey, is this all right? Was I supposed to do that? Is this going to be a huge problem later on? So you don't have to spend money on legal issues. I want to be super clear about that. Sometimes you just coast along for a long time, and
Mhm.
it's pretty common. Um, but you know, one thing that I've made a big part of my practice is we don't charge to have phone calls with our clients. If
Mhm.
someone has questions like, "Hey, is this all right?" Like, yeah, please call.
Right. Well, that certainly makes it more inviting and easier to address a potential problem before it actually is a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I can give you an easy example of that, something that
sure.
comes up all the time. A lot of people are dealing with ramifications from the CARES Act, right? So I didn't schedule this person, or now this employee isn't able to work, or they don't feel safe working in this business. Can they apply for unemployment? Do I have to, should I appeal it? Do I contest that? And what do those things look like in light of these brand new laws that we haven't had before? And I've had so many unemployment hearings this year where I'm representing the business owner.
Yeah.
They're going, hey, that's not what happened. That's not. So we've got that. And
Yeah.
then the other thing that comes up just nonstop is intellectual property issues. So
Mhm.
you use someone else's work, someone starts using your work. People
Mhm.
always want to know, do I need a trademark? Is that, those are expensive. So
Yes.
it's it's a it's a decision that you want to be informed about,
Mhm.
but you want to make sure that the information you're getting is for you.
Exactly. So, I what was my as it relates to COVID, here's something that I've seen a lot about, I've heard a lot of people complain about, and I'm curious to know how you might advise or what you've seen clients doing. With so many people working from home now, there are some individuals that are trying to play the system, and maybe there are some that are not, and they're losing their internet connectivity or their power out, went out. How are organizations handling situations like that? Or what do you advise?
Sure, sure. Well, I have to say the lawyer thing and say that I'm not giving legal advice right now.
Right.
We're having a general conversation, and you do want to talk to a lawyer to make sure you get personalized advice. Just gotta keep that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What I'm seeing happen and what a lot of my clients are doing is they are making sure that the rules that they put in place are written down and they're applied uniformly.
Yeah.
So if we have one employee whose internet goes out every single day, that's something we need to look at. But before we look at it, before we have a conversation about it, we have to know what we're doing, right? So as an organization, what is our policy about missed work? How are we handling power outages? Is it going to be the same as when someone's car broke down and they weren't able to come into the office? I know that in the past year, it seems for many business owners that everything is totally different. This is all brand new. We've never explored this before. But I would say it's probably not. It's probably not all that different. You've had sick days in the past, right? Like you have paid time off. You have doctor's appointments where people leave work. So if we're just saying, how are we handling this crazy new stuff? Then we're kind of missing the legal aspect of it, because the law is always what we did before, right? Yeah. It does not change. Yeah. Unfortunately, in a lot of ways, it doesn't change overnight.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. You do what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with that. I think that it's really important that they have a very clear attendance policy, and like, what does it say now? It might cover it, right? So, and you're right, we tend to over dramatize what is happening, and it's just a variation of where we've always been, really.
Absolutely. And when it comes to legal stuff, that's what we do. That is the skill of being an attorney, is going, this is really similar to this other situation, and here's what the rules were when that happened. Like that's the analysis.
Yes. Well, what is the best advice, what's the most challenging situation you've ever helped a small business owner navigate? And then what advice would you give to us in terms of avoiding it?
Okay, so this is a personal most challenging thing, because, oh my God, there's so many things. My most challenging situation is when you have a business owner who is well-intentioned and playing by the rules, but they have someone in their organization who has created some level of a hostile work environment. So this was actually some of the first stuff I ever got pulled into before I was technically doing corporate law. I was a defense attorney for corporations for a little while. So not my thing. But you have the business owners who are running the show, who are really putting, their heart and soul into the business. And then you've got people in the organization who either create a harassing environment, a toxic environment in some way. And the owners either don't know, or they haven't been properly trained to spot it. When it comes down to it, those are really similar things under the law. So not knowing or just looking the other way are treated pretty similarly. So you get a situation that's super, super legally jeopardizing, but it's not created by the people who are supposed to be controlling the environment. And so I've had that happen many, many times. I've seen it happen personally and professionally. And what you absolutely have to do is you have to make sure that your policies from a legal standpoint are sound, and make sure you've got good HR on your team. That's what it comes down to. You need to know how to spot things that you never thought were going to be a problem once you start hiring people.
Exactly.
It creates so many problems when you don't, and it's really expensive problems.
They are. It's so crazy. And it's just like, so having HR and having an attorney is like insurance, right? You pay for it so that when something happens, we pray that it never does, but when something happens, we can't say that you won't be sued, but you'll be in a better situation had you had the support all along.
You are absolutely correct. And the other thing that I would add is I tell people all the time, look, if you are terrified of being sued, the only way to avoid that is to not go into business. Go into business, there's a chance you're gonna get sued.
Yes.
But healthy organizations, just like healthy bodies, healthy personalities,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things that they require that we invest in them. They require that we take care of ourselves. You have to go for a walk occasionally. You have to eat well, and that's the same thing for an organization. So
Yeah.
the way that you can be more confident that something like that won't happen
Mm-hmm.
is to get the right people on your team and
Mm-hmm.
to understand how that stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
No,
you for that. That was good. It will happen. It will. So, what's the best advice you can give to a business owner that is looking for an attorney? What questions should they ask? What should they look for?
so off the bat, don't doubt yourself as a business owner just because we're talking about legal stuff. So if you're going, a lot of people, they have this angst or this anxiety about contacting lawyers because they're like, well, I don't know anything about the law. I don't know how this works. I don't know what I have to pay for. I don't know how expensive this will be. And they think they're going to get hit with a huge bill that they don't really value. So you are a business owner for a reason. You handle this stuff, whether it's with suppliers, vendors, uh, podcast guests, whatever you are doing for your business, you do know how to handle it. When it comes to lawyers, it's the same thing. So talk to a couple different people. Don't, I know it's always a question of time and resources, but you want to ask around. Referrals are useful, but you still have to make sure that that person you're talking to is invested in you, has an interest in you.
Mm-hmm.
So, stick with that intuition that got you into your business in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
and then lay out, hey, I don't want this to happen. Here are some concerns that I have, and that's the lawyer's job to handle those. If they're going, oh, don't worry about that. If they're saying, oh, that probably won't happen. If they're giving you an answer that's not satisfying, move on.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Not,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Not every lawyer is right for every person.
Mm-hmm.
Every lawyer is made a little bit differently and handles their practice a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Same with every business owner. So,
Yes.
um, I know personally when I am not a good fit for a business. And
Mm-hmm.
I tell people that occasionally. I'll go, I think I know someone who's going to work with your personality a little bit better. And so just take that kind of, if you take anything away from what I've said today, just take away the part that's, you do know what you're looking for in a professional.
Absolutely. And you know who you feel comfortable with, because I really think that um, working with an attorney requires a level of comfort. I've got to be able to tell you everything so that you can best advise me.
Yeah,
Because if you don't know everything, you could advise me in a way that could be to my detriment. So I think comfort is so important.
it is. And it kind of goes back to that. When I was talking earlier about communities that are underrepresented, that
Yeah.
happens in the law a lot because we see a lot of the same demographics, we see a lot of the same faces.
Mhm.
And what happens is either your lawyer's not able to put forward your best defense, or they're not able to advise you on how you want to navigate an issue.
Mm.
So you want to make sure, it's a people business more than anything.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're talking to someone that you don't have anxiety, maybe, or
Mhm.
fear of putting it all out
Mhm.
there and going, especially when you've made a mistake. A lot of people get real hesitant when they figure out they've made a mistake, and they're like, "Oh, that never happened. That didn't happen." And then, someone shows up with the text messages.
Yes, exactly. That is really, really a good point. It is a people business. Both of us are in the people business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People have to bare their souls to us so that we can, help them in the most effective way.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you just had a baby.
I did.
Yeah. So how do you balance business ownership? Because you're a partner in your firm, right?
I work my own practice at BiState Law. Yeah.
Okay. That's what okay.
Yeah. Founding
So
partner.
you own your own business and you're a new mom. How do you find time for Krystal and for Krystal's husband?
Well, it's kind of a day by day thing.
Yeah.
You know, so the other thing that I do is I am launching a wellness initiative. One of the reasons that we see the same faces in the legal field is because it's a terribly unhealthy way to make a living. We have a kind of culture where people really pride themselves on being exhausted, on being overworked, on being martyrs for every legal issue and every client that pops up. And where we constantly say, like, I'm the least important thing that I am handling. And I think that is really problematic when we're saying, hey, we need more women here. We need more minorities here. We need more people of color, because we're not doing all that. We can't do all that. It affects people differently. Um, and so I'm launching this wellness initiative. I am talking the talk, but very much walking the walk. My schedule is me first. It's my daughter first, really. She kind of calls the shots, but after her, then it's me. And that's the only way that I'm able to do anything. And so it's been this huge mindset shift for me. It's really hard to tell people no for anything. It doesn't come natural to me. I'm used to being the person that's going, hey, I can help with that. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Don't worry. I got time. I'll make time, whatever. And I really transitioned that to, I can do that at this time, being really firm with boundaries.
Yeah. I can certainly appreciate that. I have to learn how to create boundaries for myself. And yeah, so we'll have to talk offline. I need to know some tricks of the trade.
It's so important. And so, there's always this thinking of I need to do everything else for everyone else, and then I can take care of myself when that's done. But I'll tell you what, it's never done.
It's not ever.
Yeah, you deplete yourself, and then you go, well, why am I so exhausted? Why am I not bringing my A game?
Yes.
One anymore. You're tired.
Yes, I agree. Well, Krystal, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for making time to chat with me today. How can people reach you? I've got your email here, but is there another means by which you want people to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So email is perfectly fine. And I do check my LinkedIn pretty regularly. So that's an easy way to connect with me.
Yes, it is. That's how we connected. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Krystal. And I really enjoyed chatting with you. And thanks so much for all of you who were here to watch us. I am Dr. Tiffany Slater at HR TailorMade, the HR solution for small businesses. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter and tune in next week. I have a great conversation lined up for you next week. So don't forget to send me the questions that you want me to ask and names of people that you want me to have a conversation with on your behalf, because I would love to make sure that I am asking the questions that you want to know the answers to. So until next time, be kind to yourself, and thank you so much for joining us.